Inside every single one of your cells is a city, a bustling metropolis of millions of proteins, and each one has a specific job to do. Now, to understand how life works, or, what goes wrong in a disease, scientists have to be able to sort through this massive crowd. But how in the world do you sort something you can't even see? Well, let's find out. That really is the central challenge, isn't it? I mean, we're talking about molecules that are thousands of times smaller than a single grain of sand. You can't just pick them up and put them in different piles. You need an incredibly clever solution to pull this off.
And that solution is a technique with a bit of a mouthful for a name: sodium dodecyl sulfate polyacrylamide gel electrophoresis. Yeah, I know, we just call it SDS-PAGE for short. But don't worry about the complex name. At its heart, the idea is actually super simple and really elegant. It's a molecular race.
Okay, so before we get into all the nitty-gritty lab work, let's just break down the logic. The entire technique is built on a very straightforward idea that turns a really complex biological problem into a simple physical one. Here is the game plan. It's really just 4 steps. First, you take all the proteins, which are normally balled up in these complex 3D shapes, and you force them to unfold into straight lines. Second, you give every single protein a uniform negative charge. Third, you put them in an electric field. And what's the result? The smallest, lightest proteins race to the finish line the fastest. That's it. Size is the only thing that matters in this race.
So how do you make sure the race is fair? Well, this is where the magic ingredient comes in: SDS. It's basically a detergent, a soap, that coats every single protein. And it does 2 absolutely crucial things. It helps unfold them, and more importantly, it covers them in a negative charge. Now, the bigger the protein, the more SDS sticks to it, and the more negative it becomes. This brilliant little trick cancels out any natural charge a protein might have had, ensuring the race is purely a contest of size.
Okay, so we have our racers prepped and ready to go. Now they need a racetrack. And this isn't just some simple flat track. It's more like a molecular obstacle course, and scientists have to build it from scratch for every single race. This process is called casting the gel. These are the key players for building our course. Acrylamide molecules, they're the building blocks that link together to form this mesh-like structure. The tris buffer is critical for setting the correct pH. And APS and TMED, think of them as the starter pistol. The second you add them, bam, the polymerization reaction kicks off, and our liquid solution turns into a solid, squishy gel. Now, what's really clever is that scientists can adjust the difficulty of this obstacle course. If they're studying big, bulky proteins, they'll use a lower percentage of acrylamide for a looser mesh, an easier course. But if they're hunting for tiny little proteins, they increase the percentage to create a much denser, more difficult matrix to navigate. And get this, the racetrack actually has 2 distinct parts. At the very top, there's a low-density stacking gel. Its only job is to get all the different proteins, which might have been loaded at slightly different times, to line up into one super sharp single starting line. Below that is the resolving gel. This is the main event. This is the real obstacle course, where all the separation happens. All right, so we've built the course. Now we need to get our protein racers to the starting line, and this means we have to prepare the sample. This quote really nails the core idea behind sample prep. You have to standardize them. This involves 2 key things: giving every racer the same negatively charged jersey and forcing them into a streamlined, linear shape through a process we call denaturation. And this is done in 2 simple steps. First, the protein sample gets mixed with a special liquid called Laemmli buffer. This buffer contains that magic ingredient, SDS, to give the proteins their negative charge. It also has a blue dye, so we can literally watch the race's progress. Then, you boil it. You heat the sample to nearly boiling for 5 minutes, and this intense heat is what fully unfolds the proteins from their complex shapes into simple, straight lines. So, the gel is made, the samples are prepped. Now we assemble everything in the electrophoresis unit, apply an electric current, and let them run. The race is officially on. The race itself happens in 2 phases, and it's all controlled by electricity. First, a low voltage is applied. This just gently nudges the proteins through that wide-open stacking gel, letting them form that perfect, tight starting line. Then, once the blue dye shows they've reached the main course, the voltage gets cranked up. This higher power drives the proteins hard through the resolving gel, forcing them to separate based on how easily they can snake their way through the mesh. So,
How long does all this take? Well, from loading the samples into the little wells at the top of the gel, it's about 20 minutes for them to stack up. Then the main race through the resolving gel takes about another hour or so. The whole dash is over in around 90 minutes, right when that blue dye front reaches the very bottom of the gel.
The race is over, but the work isn't done. Now comes the most critical part, developing and reading the photo finish to see who won and what it all means.
Of course, like any complex procedure, things don't always go perfectly. Scientists have to become detectives, looking at the results to diagnose what might have gone wrong during the race.
Here's a really common issue. See how the bands are curved, kind of like a smile? This is literally called smiling, and it happens when the gel gets too hot. The center of the gel runs faster than the cooler edges, and that distorts the finish line. The fix is usually just to run the race at a lower voltage, or even put the entire race rig in a cold room. After the race, there's one more really important step. The proteins themselves are completely invisible in the gel. To see the results, the scientist has to stain it. A common stain called Kumasi blue binds to the proteins, and that reveals them as these sharp blue bands against a clear background. This is our photo finish. And this photo is just packed with information. Each band represents a different protein. You can estimate its size by comparing how far it traveled to a special link called a molecular weight marker, which is just a pre-made mix of proteins of known sizes. This lets scientists see how many proteins are in their sample, check if a protein they purified is actually pure, or see if a certain protein is present or maybe even missing. To really understand just how important this technique is, just look at this number. The original paper from 1970 that laid out this method has been cited in other scientific papers over 1 million times. Let that sink in for a second. That makes it one of the most cited papers in all of science. It is, without exaggeration, a cornerstone of modern biology. So why does this molecular race, happening in labs all over the world, actually matter to us? Well, the impact is enormous, and it connects directly from the lab bench to our daily lives. I mean, this technique is an absolute workhorse in labs everywhere. It's used to find biomarkers for diagnosing diseases, to confirm that a new drug has been successfully produced, to check for allergens in food, and even in forensic science. It is a fundamental, essential tool for understanding the very machinery of life. Ultimately, every single band on one of these gels is a clue. It's a piece of a story about what's happening deep inside a cell. By separating the crowd, scientists can listen to what individual proteins are saying. And that leaves you with a final thought. What stories are your own proteins just waiting to tell?